Travis Wayne Goodsell. I was immortalized on SNL last night. I guess religious leaders love me. And so I guess that explains why the prophets of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints want me assassinated. Is because they can't process their emotional love for me. Maybe they need a prophet park to work their issues out. That's why I prefer women. I don't do man parks. Oh dear God. Classic. So, in Mormonism, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints get traumatized. And that trauma causes our human natures to create some kind of a safe space in our minds where we can process things without the trauma of reality being in the church. Making jokes is one of those processes. But for most people in Mormonism, they're not allowed to actually do study and research on Mormonism. Because if they did, they would realize the prophets are lying, that the church isn't true, because the history don't match up. So there's many trauma options for Mormons in the church. And ex-Mormons likewise will breathe a sigh of relief upon leaving, but the trauma still remains. And it's often exhibited in an overindulgence of what they think was suppressed in their life. You know, like if you thought that not drinking alcohol was holding you back in the church, you overindulge and you OD, and you find out that yourself waking up in the morning in some strange city in the back alley of some off street. You got clothes missing, and you can't remember what happened and how you got there. Those types of things that you overindulge in to release the tension that's been bottled up for so long. I hope nobody does that. I mean, my God. But that's an insecurity thing as well. People overindulge when they finally get something in their life. Food insecurity. If you're starving your whole life and then all of a sudden you're presented with an option for food, you overindulge. And if you're unfamiliar with Thanksgiving, that's a time for overindulgence, as the meal is one time a year, and so people tend to stuff themselves like a turkey. And it hurts, and you got to go lie down, and the turkey drugs knock you out for a little bit. There's turkey drugs. Drugs. Everybody does drugs. They were using kids in this show this time. And So this safety net that is created has to have an anti-science, anti-logic, also called fallacy element to it. That's the basic pattern in all of it. You have to deny reality, you have to deny truth in order to survive the trauma. Because in the immortal words of the guy who used to play Joker, you can't handle the truth. Jack Nicholson. There we go. And yeah, so I see that time and time again with Mormons, that their spiritual witness kicks in when somebody like me does a truth video. What the hell is our culture doing to the English language? My truth about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oh my God. And the spiritual witness allows Mormons to keep the cycle of belief going without ever coming to a knowledge of the truth. That's the protection. You reinforce your beliefs with more beliefs. And you call it truth. And that creates a bubble world for you. Or, as ex-Mormons understand it, beer goggles. And ex-Mormons likewise, whatever trauma was caused in the church, they still are haunted by it, as they are triggered, with words like polygamy, murder, translation. They immediately develop Tourette's syndrome. And this is what is to blame from psychologists who cause these bubbles to be created in people. Psychology is a anti-science, they're pseudoscience, and they use fallacy to defend themselves, and thus in counseling and in therapy and whatever else that you guys get put in with them with, they input into your brains the anti-science, anti-logic fallacies arguments that cause you harm in your life. That's how they have you process tragic events. That's why it's extremely dangerous after a school shooting to have the psychos come vulturing in to be in control of your kids. Extremely dangerous. And so yeah, the video I did yesterday explained why that counselor in Mexico should not be used for the 70 missionaries, because again, it will just be used to reinforce their spiritual witness, the anti-science and the fallacy arguments that will keep them in that trauma bubble. And it's just wrong. And so with the prophets having their own trauma counselors is also very disturbing. LDS services, I guess it's called, where if you dare to say that masturbation's okay, you get excommunicated, not only losing your job. I mean, it's one thing to push anti-science and fallacy onto your clients because your boss wants you to do that. It's completely another thing to bite the hand that feeds you and rebel. And what needs to be done is being told the truth. And unfortunately, the church will not do that. And thus perpetuates the trauma in Mormons and ex-Mormons' lives. As Mormons on the fringe are the ones who keep trying to promote change of the prophets. They're saying, maybe a better use of this tithing money should be to do such and such. No, you got to understand the truth. They're authoritarian Nazis, literally Nazis. Moroni and the swastika, Oaks and the seagull, to the Aaronic priesthood youth. The video got banned, but I got it put back up with my appeal. I mean, dear God, he's the one doing it. And so, yeah, I can see if the church wasn't trying to process their love for me through assassination attempts, how YouTube, in normal circumstances, would not be programming their algorithms to silence me, but instead allowing Mormons and ex-Mormons an opportunity to see my videos on their feed, because they're the ones who search for my videos. And I would understand why Mormons and ex-Mormons can't process my videos. Mormons sending death threats, and I had a person who's not even Mormon comment yesterday, and they were begging and pleading that I did not say in one of my videos, they only watched one, that Jesus is not real. And they were begging and pleading, please tell me that you didn't say that Jesus is not real, that it's just the Mormons' teachings. I hate to break this to you, and so I linked them to the Nicene Council from Constantine. We've all been conned. But again, anti-science and fallacy is a very dangerous weapon in the hands of an authoritarian enemy. And instead of facing the truth with knowledge, people revert into a trauma bubble so that they can survive mentally. But this is where ex-Mormons get that faith crisis, and Mormons, to maintain their trauma bubble, instead define it as losing a testimony. If you had knowledge, none of this would be necessary. That's what got me through it. On my New York mission, I was bombarded with dumb Mormons. Literally, I see dumb Mormons was my t-shirt. And yeah, it was long before the movie of I see dead people. But district leader after zone leader after AP, assistant to the president, if you're unfamiliar with the lingo, we're just authoritarian Nazis. I mean, dear God, numbers. And I remember in forgetting the name of the location in Long Island. It's not Massapequa. Or was it? I guess it was Massapequa. The sister missionaries were in that other one that I'm thinking of. I came up with the thought, do I obey unrighteous leaders when they're church leaders? Talk about your conundrums. Church is true. There is no such thing as an unrighteous leader. The prophets are infallible. They don't make mistakes. They're not human. They're superhuman. Like Jesus. It's real. It's real science and it's real logic. It's truth. And it's my truth and you can't tell me otherwise. And so yeah, I literally, in thinking about that concept as to should I follow religious leaders who are corrupt, it blew a circuit in my brain. I literally went into a state of shock and had to reboot my system, just like in Free Guy. I saw that last night. Awesome. Little disappointed with the ending. It's one of those where, why didn't the girl understand it? I caught it from the very beginning when I first saw that he was a part of their original program that got robbed. I go, that's why Guy is so perfect for her. I caught it. Why didn't she? Why don't women catch on to these things? It's plain and obvious. And so, yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. I was hoping she would, become an avatar herself and, fall in love with Guy and they have baby, forgetting the word after I just said it, but avatar babies. But no, Guy ends up having a friend zone friendship with the security guard, who's the real hero of the whole story. And she then is woke. I was hoping, no, don't let one of them get hit by the car. Don't let them get hit by a car. And they didn't. But, what a mess. What a tangled web we weave when at first the LDS church prophets practice to deceive. I might be able to reword that into a title for this video. We'll see. I of course have to figure out a thumbnail using SNL. Probably the pastors We'll see. But knowledge, in case you didn't catch on, use science. It does lead to truth, and the truth does set you free. Learn to avoid fallacy arguments. Don't let the church deceive you. Remember, last days, false Christ, false prophets, who will deceive Mormons. Because Mormons think they're the elect, right? Don't let the prophets deceive you.